Here, in addition to
Wait, Toyota. Saving you money is our bottom line.
Well, at least it's an attempt, you know. If we try and fail, why, that's one thing. But if we don't try at all, why, then that's something entirely different.
around and around they march, circling the entire Deaconess Medical Center. The carefully planned event did not end here, however. After marching for a little over an hour, protesters moved across the street to begin a rally.
I pray, Lord, for this great nation of ours, that one day soon that this law of abortion would be abolished and the taking of unborn lives would be no more. Amen. I pray that
no one can say for certain what fruits such efforts will bear, except that once again the protesters made the evening news. With photographer Steve Redland, Don Reese, KREM 2 News.
And as with all issues, there are two sides to the issue of abortion. Those people picketing outside Spokane hospitals have shared their views with us frequently.
Those on the inside have their point of view, too. Abortion is legal, and they are providing a legal service. Don Reese joins us now in studio with the doctor who works at Deaconess. Don, you and your guests can share the pro-choice side of this with us.
Well, that's right. With us is Dr. Pam Silverstein from Deaconess Medical Center. Doctor, I wonder, as you sit in your office or perhaps leave the hospital and see the protesters, how does that make you feel?
Well, I certainly feel that they have a right to express their opinion on the issue. I feel that I don't agree with them, and I do wish that they would not express their opinion in areas where people are ill. And picketing in front of a hospital, I think, is an area that might be questionable as to whether that's a good area to picket.
We've talked some earlier about how this issue might be resolved, and obviously the two sides are both very strong in their opinions and their feelings. What are some of the things you see as possibly changing the focus of the issue?
Well, I think that abortion itself is, as we all know, an extremely sensitive issue, and it strikes me that the two sides cannot come to a compromise about abortion itself. It would be good to work to change the focus to working at prevention of the need for abortion, in other words, providing better birth control and working towards prevention of teenage pregnancy and other unintended pregnancy.
And finally, obviously the Supreme Court has legalized abortion. If they were to change that ruling and to declare abortions illegal, what sort of problems, if any, do you think that could bring about?
Well, my concern as a physician is for the health and safety of our patients. And when abortions become illegal, if they're done in an unsafe and not in a medical environment, then that would be a threat to the health and well-being of the woman, and I would be very concerned in that area.
All right, thank you, Doctor, for joining us. Tom and Leslie, the issue continues.
Yes, it does. Don, Dr. Silverstein, thank you. Tom?
Pro-life demonstrations like we saw at the top of our newscast were not unique to Spokane today. Thousands of people in cities across the country gathered for a nationwide protest against abortion. The biggest demonstrations in Washington state were in western Washington. Belle Taylor reports from Seattle.
Anti-abortion groups targeted Stevens Hospital in Edmond some time ago as a place where they say babies are killed. So they've been picketing outside for months, trying to pressure the hospital to stop offering abortions. Tacoma General was the target of a major demonstration for the first time today, when about 500 anti-abortionists circled the hospital for an hour while hospital employees looked on.
I believe that momentum is gathering. I think people are disturbed over the lack of response they've had to try and gain legislative initiatives, and so now we're willing to pose possible economic sanctions and things of that nature.
Hospital spokesman Bill France says hospital representatives are already talking with the group about the hospital's abortion policy. He says in light of that, he found today's demonstration a little surprising.
As a result of that, I would have expected that he had achieved his purposes, and to me, that's the best way to achieve what he wants to do, and that he would have canceled the demonstration or perhaps had a short meeting and then sent people home.
While anti-abortionists held demonstrations in front of hospitals, pro-choice supporters gathered for a symposium in Seattle.
If abortion was kept as a legal option, if people were forced to close their clinics just because they didn't want to be harassed by these people, they didn't want to have phone calls in the middle of the night like I've gotten, they don't want to have people picketing in front of their home like I've had, and they decide to stop, then it's going to make it impossible. And if anybody thinks that that's going to stop abortion, that's a crazy way of thinking.
The abortion issue isn't going to go away, so for some time now we'll see anti-abortion demonstrations and pro-choice symposiums. In Seattle, Belle Taylor, King 5 News.
Banners, signs, and tiny coffins were part of the demonstrations in Portland today, too. Some 500 people showed up outside Portland's Emmanuel Hospital. Speakers called for the reversal of the Supreme Court decision that allows abortions. All of today's protests were called by religious leaders to force hospitals to change their policies and stop performing abortions. While these were not the first such protests, they were among the few nationally organized events for the cause.
In other news now, some Spokane video stores are getting rid of their X-rated videos. This in anticipation of a stronger moral nuisance law for Washington. Most store owners in Spokane feel they just don't have the money to challenge the law if it is strongly endorsed. Washington's moral nuisance law was upheld last summer by the U.S. Supreme Court. Japan Airlines and Boeing will each pay out compensation to relatives of the 520 people killed in the JAL jumbo jet crash in August. The total amount of compensation has not yet been released, but we understand the sum could reach $200 million. Boeing will pay 50% of the claim, JAL the other half. The agreement was reached just a few days ago.
Up next on KREM 2 News, shattered glass was laying all over the Spokane Valley this morning. We'll explain what happened.
And also, the Shriners hold a clinic to keep children walking tall. We'll be right back.
Ivory's America's favorite soap, my name has come to mean a heritage of purity, a natural kind of clean.
99 and 44 100% pure. It floats. For over 100 years, those words have meant ivory. Today, ivory freshens more complexions and helps more people feel clean, look healthy than any other soap. For a natural and pure kind of clean, one soap still rises to the top. Ivory.
Someone just asked me why I wasn't flying the plane.
And you said?
I'd love to, Captain. Anyway, we're on vacation. Can't they tell we're on vacation? Well, why does that look familiar?
Because we've been there. I like it better here.
Frequent flyers like the future on Western Airlines.
It's the only way to fly. Only? What a novel concept.
The Office Products and Systems Show is the show for you. Local and national businesses with hundreds of exhibits displaying and selling the latest in office technology, products, services, and equipment. This is the premier show of its kind. From paper clips to computers, it's all gathered together for you in one place at one time. You simply cannot afford to miss the Office Products and Systems Show.
October 8th, 9th, and 10th at the Spokane Convention Center. Open 10 to 6 daily.
Vandals are responsible for shooting out numerous car windows overnight. All the shattered glass is somebody's idea of Friday night fun. Some 30 car owners in the Spokane Valley discovered this scene this morning. The cars were hit by either pellets or by BBs. Some cars were hit several times. Sheriff's deputies do not know who did the shooting last night. Their investigation at news time is continuing.
Parents and educators gathered in Spokane today with the goal of helping kids through their learning problems. The day-long seminar dealt with a host of learning disabilities. The focus was how parents, teachers, and special programs can help kids overcome their struggle.
Primarily, I think that what they face is that they have a low self-esteem because they are not succeeding, usually because they have some type of a deficit, either in their ability to write or to read, some in calculating, and this deficit gets in the way of their being able to perform well in their school classroom.
With the right kind of help and support at home and school, the younger the kids are when they start special programs, the better success they have. You've probably seen the bumper stickers that read, "Know a crippled child? Phone a Shriner." Well, the Shriners today launched their annual effort to help crippled kids who can't afford treatment. Susan Howard has the story.
3-year-old Natasha Deagle sometimes has trouble walking and running. There's a curve in her spine, one foot turns out and her knee turns in. Today, her parents brought her to the Shriners Mini Clinic for a free diagnosis and help.
This is what she has been wearing fine so far.
Natasha has been to specialists, but treatment is expensive. So are braces. The Shriners treat children like Natasha free of charge.
I think it'll help for her. Maybe she'll start walking better and not falling so much and
chipping her teeth all the time.
Natasha says she wants the doctors to fix it. Before that can happen, there's paperwork to fill out, and doctors must decide what can be done. Natasha is one of 20 kids who came to the Shriners Mini Clinic. Most of them can be helped.
Well, it's pretty nice to see these little kids that have a problem and to see them walk and make their place in life without any problems.
Before these kids head for home and possible treatment, they get some special attention from the Shriners clowns and just a few things to take home for a little fun. With photographer Mike Gallimanis, Susan Howard, KREM 2 News.
The state superintendent's office that oversees public schools is now recommending that children with AIDS be admitted to public schools. The state superintendent says children with the disease have a right to an education and will ask all state schools to adopt the same attitude. However, local districts can lay down their own policies. The identities of the children with AIDS will also be held confidential. A select group of young Inland Empire scholars tackled some tough issues today. About 200 students hit the Gonzaga University campus for the Junior Debate Conference. While the debating is designed to be fun, it's also geared toward learning.
Our purpose is basically to educate them, and that's the sole purpose. It's a student-run organization, and students are teaching them, and so we feel that you can work better and you can learn better with a fellow student instead of from a teacher advisor or from a teacher.
The Junior Statesman of America is open to all high school students with an interest in politics and in government.
The Junior League's annual golf exhibition won't be until next May, but the caddies are being selected now. This tournament was held to pick the 12 young men who will serve as caddies next spring. Over 50 Spokane area high schoolers vied for the caddy spots.
It's just a terrific turnout. We've got 52 kids, and the players are great. We've got, a lot of low handicappers, 1 and 2 and 3 handicapped kids, and they're all excited to be here.
In addition to golfing ability, potential caddies to the pros must show good etiquette, knowledge of golf rules, and of course, excellent caddy skills. I guess we do have to wait, though, for the weather to get to be golfing weather again.
Yes, it's going to be a long time for that, I'm afraid. Cooling trend is what we're going to see over the next couple of days. And the forecast is looking a little bit chilly. We'll tell you all about that and some snowy weather in the mountains of Montana, all up next.
In this area, there's only one full-time, full-service, professional water well contractor, Ponderosa. Ponderosa is the one company with a solid financing program to help you pay for your complete water system. And Ponderosa will do it right.
Ponderosa installs only the best equipment in your water system. Equipment like reliable, efficient Gould's pumps.
When it comes to water well systems, there's no number 2. Call Ponderosa.
It's what won for Australia the America's Cup. It's what conquered Mount Everest. It's what took man to the moon. It's the spirit of adventure. Set sail with Albie Mangles in Trek and experience yourself this incredible journey. It's a story that will inspire everybody who sees it. If you only see one movie a year, then you must see Trek, an adventure from down under.
Trek can be seen in these cities. Don't miss this incredible journey that took over 6 years to complete. Trek.
Out with the old, in with the new. Everything on our first floor must go. We're remodeling our entire first floor at Liberty Furniture, and we're selling everything on it to the bare walls. We've reduced everything on our first floor to sell immediately. Save 30, 40, 50, even 60% on sofas, love seats, sectionals, chairs, rockers, desks, entertainment units, tables, lamps, pictures, and carpet. They're all famous brands, and they're all on sale at Liberty Furniture, Main at Washington. Ask for remodeling sale furnishings when you come in.
Most Americans choose not to hear the warnings about tinnitus. The warnings about what loud noises can do. How some sounds can get stuck inside your head. How they can grow and get louder. Yes, most Americans choose not to hear what tinnitus can do. Now they hear it all the time.
Temperatures starting to cool down overnight. They're going to cool down again tomorrow, and a chance we're going to see some rain. I'll tell you when in a second. Right now, our current conditions are showing partly cloudy skies with a temperature of 65 degrees, 18 on the Celsius scale. Winds are out of the south at 5 miles an hour. The barometer is falling. Humidity at 20% and 0 precipitation in the last 24 hours. Overnight low about 5:30 this morning, 40 degrees. Today's high got up to 68. Both of those temperatures are right around normal, but we're going to see a cooling trend over the next few days. Over the region mid-afternoon, these are what the temperatures look like, mostly in the 60s for eastern Washington, and as we move south, temperatures start to warm up slightly in the 70s, lower to mid-70s for most of Oregon. It got up to 77 in the Dalles and 76 in Portland, Oregon. Northern Idaho, western Montana, rather mild temperatures there as well. You folks are going to see some clouds and cooler temperatures as we move through tomorrow and Monday, with the moisture system off the coast slowly starting to move inland. This is what the cloud cover looks like over the region. Variable high clouds to partly cloudy skies over most of Washington, Idaho, and Montana. Off the coast last night, you can see a ridge of high pressure. It is weakening a little bit, and then the moisture from the Gulf of Alaska starting to move down into our region. We're going to see a 50% chance of some showers by tomorrow night with that moisture system slowly moving in. The jet stream pushing most of that moisture right out of the Gulf all the way through parts of Montana. Later tonight, a winter storm warning in effect for the mountain areas and foothills of Montana. You could get about a foot of snow by Monday morning. Ooh, cold conditions, winter on its way. Today's worst weather in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Showers, a wind chill factor of 15 degrees. Play a joke on your friend, keep them outside, give us an idea for what we can do to our friends when winter comes. Temperatures across the nation, pretty cool into parts of Colorado. This morning only got to 14 degrees in Gunnison, Colorado. 103 for the hot spot in Palm Springs, California. 95 in Arizona. And then in the mid-70s for most of the Gulf Coast region. Only place to record heavy amounts of precipitation, the central Atlantic coast, parts of Florida, and parts of New England as well. Tonight's lows for most of the region are going to be pretty mild, but cold into parts of Montana and the Dakotas, only in the 20s there. And in the 30s to 40s for our region. Tomorrow's highs are going to range from the 50s on the east side of the region all the way up to the 60s and 70s, and then continuing hot temperatures into parts of the southeast and the southwest. Locally tonight, our forecast is calling for mostly cloudy skies, a low of 40 degrees. Winds are going to be light and variable. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy again, a 50% chance of some showers tomorrow, and then we start to see some cooling temperatures. The outlook is showing us that we're going to have pretty fair skies, but cold temperatures, the lows for Tuesday and Wednesday down to 20 to 30 degrees. Expect them to be around 28, and then the cooling trend will start to move out, and we'll have warmer temperatures by the middle to the end of next week. Get your sweaters out and your gloves.
Dry cleaning, you got to get your dry cleaning home now.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's going to be cold.
Thank you, Joyce.
You're
We'll see
welcome.
you at 11.
Thank you very much. I guess the Huskies are mooing to the moon tonight.
Huskies got a big win this afternoon, Tom, and in baseball, a couple of teams clinch division titles. We will have all the sports, a very busy afternoon when we come back.
The
They have different names for Italian pie.
We call it Priazzo. Baked fresh every day. Only at Pizza Hut.
It's Millwood Furniture's annual sale of sales. It's the biggest sale of the season, and it's on now. Every single piece of furniture in the store has been marked down for this event. Here's an example. This Lane Action recliner is on sale at a savings of $200. It's yours in a wide choice of colors. All the Lane Action quality features. Millwood Furniture lets you buy with no down payment and 0.0% interest for 1 whole year. Hurry to Millwood Furniture's Sale of Sales in the Spokane Valley in Argonne and Mullen. Millwood Furniture.
A Scandalous Love Affair, tonight at 11:30.
A Spokane man is in custody tonight after nearly 4 hours of resisting police arrest. The incident, sparked by a domestic dispute, brought out the SWAT team for the first time this year. Good evening, I'm Tom McArthur.
And I'm Leslie Donovan. The whole thing started when 43-year-old Manuel Relatos violated a protection order barring him from seeing his wife. He broke into her home and was waiting for her when she got home from work. The SWAT team was called to the scene after Relatos barricaded himself inside the house, refusing to give himself up. The 1800 block of Cannon was blocked off for hours. A command post was set up nearby. Nearly 15 officers surrounded the home. They tried to talk Relatos into coming out. Finally, officers moved in.
The reason for the SWAT call out was because she was afraid that he did have a weapon in there. He owns a weapon, but she wasn't positive if he had it with him in the house or not. He was the only one in the house, so we contained the house, and then eventually the SWAT team did enter and arrested him.
Police now say no weapons were found in the home. Relatos was taken into custody and will spend at least one night in jail. Police say right now Relatos is charged with violating a protection order.
Reports from North Idaho tonight indicate a hunter may have been shot today near St. Mary's. Shoshone County officials say they won't have any details until the morning, but we do know the incident happened in the Falls Creek area. Officials say they will release information tomorrow. Vandals are responsible for shooting out numerous car windows last night. All this shattered glass was somebody's idea of Friday night fun. Some 30 car owners in the valley discovered quite a mess this morning.
Person rather unhappy when they come out and have all their windows shot out. And it looked, we did find a pellet, so it must have come from an air gun. Yeah.
Sheriff's deputies still don't know who did all this shooting. Their investigation is continuing.
There were protests all over the country today as anti-abortion factions joined forces to call attention to the abortion issue. In Spokane, it was Deaconess Medical Center that got hit with hundreds of pickets. Don Reese was there.
You want me to tie it on her? Okay.
Crepe paper ribbons are colorful, symbolic, and perhaps most importantly, they look great on TV. By the protest leaders' own admission, this event was made for the media. Everything was carefully planned and timed, from the making of signs to making sure driveways were not blocked.
Good morning. Protesting. Ron, how are you? Good.
It was all very legal, but police watched the protest intently just in case.
45 to 152.
There was worry marchers might be harassed, but they were not. Some of those pounding the sidewalk were veterans of this sort of thing, like the Reverend Daniel Scalf and Teresa Lindley, once jailed for the cause. For others, though, this was a first-time affair. They were drawn by conscience.
Well, at least it's an attempt, you know. If we try and fail, why, that's one thing, but if we don't try at all, why, then that's something entirely different.
Around and around they marched, circling the entire Deaconess Medical Center. The carefully planned event did not end here, however. After marching for a little over an hour, protesters moved across the street to begin a rally.
I pray, Lord, for this great nation of ours, that one day soon that this law of abortion would be abolished and the taking of unborn lives would be no more. Amen. I pray that
no one can say for certain what fruits such efforts will bear, except that once again, the protesters made the evening news. With photographer Steve Redland, Don Reese, KREM 2 News.
In Seattle today, there were pickets in front of area hospitals where abortions are performed. Pro-choice advocates also met.
They don't want to have phone calls in the middle of the night like I've gotten. They don't want to have people picketing in front of their home like I've had. And they decide to stop, then it's going to make it impossible. And if anybody thinks that that's going to stop abortion, that's a crazy way of thinking.
Dr. Stacy Bering, a physician at 6th Avenue Medical Center in Spokane, has often been the target of anti-abortion protests.
The scene in Portland was similar today. Banners, signs, and tiny coffins were part of demonstrations there, too. Some 500 people showed up outside Portland's Emmanuel Hospital. All of today's protests were called by religious leaders in an effort to force hospitals to change their policies and stop performing abortions. While these were not the first such protests, they were among the few nationally organized events for the cause.
And still ahead on KREM 2 News, abortion was not the only cause for national demonstrations today. We will explain what the other one was.
And the Shriners kick off their annual campaign to help handicapped kids who can't afford treatment. We'll be right back.
It's what won for Australia the America's Cup. It's what conquered Mount Everest. It's what took man to the moon. It's the spirit of adventure. Set sail with LB Mangles in Trek and experience yourself this incredible journey. It's a story that will inspire everybody who sees it. If you only see one movie a year, then you must see Trek, an adventure from down under.
Trek can be seen in these cities. Don't miss this incredible journey that took over 6 years to complete. Trek.
Someone just asked me why I wasn't flying the plane.
And you said?
I'm not the captain.
Anyway, we're on vacation. Can't they tell we're on vacation?
Now, why does that look familiar?
Because we've been there. I like it better here.
Frequent flyers like the future on Western Airlines.
It's the only way to fly. Only. What a novel concept.
Every morning, whether I'm here in Latrobe or on the road, I'm out there making sure all the parts are working. Nobody has to sell me on keeping in shape. I guess that's why I've always been sold on Pennzoil protection. Pennzoil helps keep the equipment in shape. And believe me, I'm a guy who believes in taking care of the old equipment.
Pennzoil. Quality protection. Ask for it.
Softly she moves, graceful and free, and she's so beautiful to me.
For all the beautiful things your body says about you, give it the natural calcium in dairy foods. 2 glasses of milk and an ounce of cheese give an adult a full day's calcium and so much more. Dairy foods, calcium the way nature intended.
In New York City today, 2,000 blacks and whites gathered at a special service to pray for an end to apartheid in South Africa and mourn the victims of racial violence. New York Mayor Ed Koch and NAACP leader Benjamin Hooks led a procession into St. Patrick's Cathedral. As this service progressed, similar scenes were unfolding in some 90 cities across the country. Conditions in South Africa have led to the loss of more than 700 lives in the past year and a half. A state of emergency has been declared inside Peru's largest prison just outside Lima. Fighting between guards and inmates continued for its second day today. The showdown has left at least 34 people dead and scores wounded. The confrontation began yesterday when police tried to search the prison for weapons. That was the first time in 2 years that they've tried to do that. Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev returned home today after a 4-day official visit to France. French analysts say Gorbachev did not achieve many concrete results from his talks with French President Francois Mitterrand, but they did say his visit went a long way in restoring high-level dialogue between Paris and Moscow.
Closer to home now, world problems were not on the minds of educators in Spokane today. Instead, learning problems were on the agenda for professionals and parents trying to help kids through their learning problems. The long-day seminar focused on special programs to help young kids.
Primarily, I think that what they face is that they have a low self-esteem because they are not succeeding, usually because they have some type of a deficit, either in their ability to write or to read, some in calculating, and this deficit gets in the way of their being able to perform well in their school classroom.
Experts say the right kind of support at home and at school is the answer to just about any learning problem. Other kinds of problems connected with children are taken care of by the kind hands of Shriners in Spokane. Today, a special children's clinic helped many youngsters with handicaps. And as Susan Howard tells us, the medical attention didn't cost a penny.
3-year-old Natasha Deagle sometimes has trouble walking and running. There's a curve in her spine, one foot turns out and her knee turns in. Today, her parents brought her to the Shriners Mini Clinic for a free diagnosis and help.
This is what she has been wearing, but fine so far.
Natasha has been to specialists, but treatment is expensive. So are braces. The Shriners treat children like Natasha free of charge.
Maybe it'll help for her. Maybe she'll start walking better and not falling so much and chipping her teeth all the time.
Natasha says she wants the doctors to fix it. Before that can happen, there's paperwork to fill out and doctors must decide what can be done. Natasha is one of 20 kids who came to the Shriners Mini Clinic. Most of them can be helped.
Well, it's pretty nice to see these little kids that have a problem and to see them walk and make their place in life without any problems.
Before these kids head for home and possible treatment, they get some special attention from the Shriners clowns and just a few things to take home for a little fun. With photographer Mike Gallimanis, Susan Howard, KREM 2 News.
Would you like a child with AIDS to attend school with your son or daughter? State officials are recommending that children with the deadly disease be admitted to public schools in most cases. The recommendation is based on national guidelines issued about a month ago by the Federal Center for Disease Control. The proposed guidelines will also apply to daycare centers for younger children.
A lot of tough social and legal issues cluttered the young minds of junior statesmen in Spokane today. At Gonzaga University, some 200 students from around the state debated the pros and cons of various issues. The conference is called And Justice for All.
Our purpose is basically to educate them, and that's the sole purpose. It's a student-run organization, and students are teaching them, and so we feel that you can work better and you can learn better with a fellow student instead of from a teacher advisor or from a teacher.
The Junior Statesman of America is open to all high school students with an interest in politics and in government. The Junior League's annual golf tournament or golf exhibition isn't until May, but the caddies are being selected right now. This tournament in Spokane today was held to pick the 12 young men who will serve as caddies next spring.
It's just a terrific turnout. We've got 52 kids, and the players are great. We've got, you know, a lot of low handicappers, 1 and 2 and 3 handicapped kids, and they're all excited to be here.
Potential caddies must have good etiquette, good knowledge of golf rules, and of course, excellent caddy skills. I remember I used to have to be a caddy for my father. I didn't like that very well.
You wouldn't want to do it in this kind of weather. It's too cold for that.
It's warm tonight, but not for the next few days.
Yeah, we thought it was going to get a little cooler tonight. Right now, temperature is pretty warm, nice 55 degrees. But tomorrow, we're expecting a cooling trend. We'll tell you all about that and show you some snow in the forecast. Coming up next.
Hey, mister, can I have Mr. Goodbar, mister?
Back in the old days, Mr. Goodbar discovered the magic of peanuts and chocolate. 10 years later,
another mister for the missus.
People still love the combination of crunchy peanuts and creamy chocolate. Even in the 40s.
Mr. Goodbar, sir.
Even in the 60s.
Yes.
And even now,